watch episode 23 of Pokemon every year because I watch every episode of Pokemon every year. In episode 23, the Tower of Terror, Ash and Pikachu die. Finding their way through another frightful forest, Ash masks his fear with an actual mask, pranking the only people who tolerate his company in an attempt to heighten their tolerance for torment, which they do not seem to appreciate at all. They exit the forest atop another scenic cliffside, now overseeing Lavender Town. Sensing their impending demise, Ash and Pikachu procrastinate and decide to nap in the middle of the road. Already inside the tower, the Pokepoachers lie in wait until they come face to face with a ghost Pokemon that is just a face. Ghastly, which is short for gaslighting, tricks the scaredy cat and the scaredy humans into committing acts of domestic violence. Ash and friends finally enter the tower and force Charmander to overexert itself once again to justify its worth. They manage to cause each other bodily harm without any assistance. More pain played for laughs. From Ash, Pikachu has learned to find the humor in the suffering of others. The ghost Pokemon inhabiting the Tower of Terror are revealed to be the departed souls of social media influencers. There's one of each of the only 3 ghost-type Pokemon in Gen 1. And they're all purple. That's why they're in Lavender Town. Negatively influenced by the television, they violently prank Brock, Pikachu, and Charmander specifically, allowing Ash and Misty to abandon the 3 amongst them who already have the most abandonment issues. At the entrance again, Ash tries to convince everyone to venture back inside, but he is met with resistance. Ash criticizes their emotional fragility. Pikachu and Charmander are again repeatedly lambasted for being rational. Ash successfully hypes them up by making Pikachu relive its most recent trauma and face its recurring feelings of inadequacy. Misty and Brock have learned to see through his lies. Back in the tower, Ash's Pokédex decides to be entirely unhelpful, offering no information at all and upholding their sense of unease. Ash, ever incompetent, mistakes the antagonists for ghost-type Pokémon, instructing Pikachu and Charmander to inflict violence upon the unknown without prejudice, his acts of ignorance deepening their animosity towards him. Haunter is the first of the 3 to make its presence known to them. It is the only of the 3 that Ash is unfamiliar with. Ash sends Charmander to weaken it with a staring contest, and after the iconic scene of assault, Charmander is allowed to return to the safety of its Pokeball for the rest of the episode. The next internet media mogul to reveal itself is Gengar, who immediately assaults Ash as well. Ash instinctively attempts to identify it with his Pokédex, but is again offered Bupkis. But Ash has seen Gengar before, in the first scene of the first episode, when he was watching television. Who's that Pokemon? The first Pokemon mentioned by name in this series. Ash often struggles with memory. Ash's Pokédex is his assistive technology. Pikachu is his facilitator. Haunter and Gengar attempt physical comedy, displaying their stolen slapstick routine to an overly critical audience. Literally dishing it out but unable to take it themselves, they somberly sink through the solid ground. Ash attempts to follow them through the flooring, and upon impact, he and Pikachu are impaled by an entire chandelier. Pranked to death, Haunter removes their souls from their bodies. They died, but being dead is pretty cool. Detached physically and emotionally, Ash tries to share the gift of death with Misty, who nearly joins them on the other side. Joyous fanfare pounds as they revel in the thrills that come with their freedom from mortal bonds. Being alive is the biggest prank of all. At the top of the tower is a room full of cool toys. Every decrepit domicile and creepy castle has a secret attic that's fun for kids. Although tempted by both a swing set and a ball, Ash chooses life. Some don't have that choice anymore. Returning to the scene of the crime, Brock and Misty have separated their hollowed husks from the chandelier. They plead for Ash to awaken. Just Ash. Just another harmless prank with no lasting consequences. As they leave the tower with nothing but a greater sense of futility, Haunter appears, scaring away Misty and Brock, but a welcome sight for Ash, who greets it without fear. Haunter decides to join him of its own volition, and in a bit of foreshadowing, Ash ponders using its sense of humor to defeat Sabrina. The first clever thought that he's ever had that he then quickly dismisses. This episode was another that was briefly banned after 9/11 because of the title. Censorship is often the result of fear, but it is rarely the end result. Terror invites avoidance and hesitation, but can be ultimately overcome or undercut by humor, even when it's not that funny. Trauma bonds, humor releases. There is power in laughter, which the manga adaptation is devoid of and decidedly darker. Haunter commits self-destruct rather than let itself be captured. Comic Haunter is a lot less comical. But in the anime, in this episode at least, ghost-type Pokemon aren't spooky. They're just comedy fans, which is actually spookier. They are immature and prone to violence, which is why they get along so well with Ash. They're just pranksters, just trying to get a laugh. They may be posthumous, but they're not humorous. Laughter makes the world go round. That's why I'm always nauseous. To be continued.